Welcome to True Crime with Strategic Eyes.
Strategic back again. What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be talking about Summer Wells. Now, I have not been following Summer Wells for a very long time. There's going to be people on the internet who are much more well-versed and knowledgeable on the topic of Summer Wells. But I'm very interested in her story. She's been missing since 2021. She went missing out of Tennessee, a small rural community where her parents lived basically almost in isolation. I mean, I'm not going to act like there wasn't civilization not too far from the home, but they pretty much lived in the mountains, in the woods, pretty much. So this disappearance is so interesting because it's basically a little girl in a rural house filled with her brothers. Her mother is like 20 feet away at her grandmother's trailer, which is on the property. The father's not home, presumably, and she just disappears without a trace. So I'm just going to give you my opinion, okay? The facts of this case is that a 5-year-old girl went missing in 2021. That is the facts of the case. The facts of the case is the mother and this 5-year-old beautiful girl, Summer Wells, were planting flowers together. Summer Wells decided she wanted to go into the home and play in the basement. The mother decided that she wanted to go to her mother's trailer, the grandmother's trailer. And so the mother walked her to the house, told the brothers to watch her. There's 3 brothers in the house. They were young. They were like under the age of 12. They were watching TV or playing video games, something to that effect. And the mother said, hey, make sure you watch your little sister. And they're like, all right. And then, the mother goes to the grandmother's trailer, which is just 20 feet away on the property. And when she comes back, Summer Wells is gone. That's the facts that we know, ladies and gentlemen. So if we're just going to talk the facts and we're not going to try and at least try and dissect this and give out our opinion, then there's not going to be much show for us to do. But I'm going to give you my opinion. What we're going to do is we're going to go over the Dr. Phil interview that was done with the family of Summer Wells. And we're going to do some of the local news interview that was taken not too long after Summer Wells went missing with the parents. Both of these interviews are going to involve the parents. We want to see what the parents know. I got to tell you, man, we're not going to judge people based on their past, but the parents are criminals. And I'm saying that point blank, period. I'm sorry. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm not saying that just because they have extensive criminal records that they would be capable of hurting their own daughter. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying these folks have a criminal past. The father has a violent criminal past, which includes burglaries, etc. Those are considered violent felonies. When you break into somebody's home, whether you hurt them or not, that's a violent felony. Forgery, etc. The mother has a criminal record. I got to look up what she did, but I know she has a criminal record. And the 34-year-old son of the father is a registered ex-offender. So we do have all of the elements for a really, really terrible situation when it comes to the safety of a child, but that does not mean that these folks were the ones that hurt Summer Wells. We're going to get into this, and we're going to figure this one out together, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you guys for joining me. Make sure you hit that like button before we go any further. We will jump into this. Let's keep going. So this is, and I'm going to take off Summer Wells' picture up there. This is going to be a Google Earth image of the general area of where this little girl lived. I'm not going to zoom in on the exact address. That pointer right there is not the exact address. That point right there is just Ben Hill Road, which is the general area of which the parents and Summer Wells lived, and she went missing. All right. But you could just see that this is very rural, very, very rural. It's got to be a couple miles between this home and this next home. And it even gets deeper into the forest going up this way. And, there's a main road down here. There are multiple ways to get to that main road. But yeah, I mean, wow, this is definitely a secluded area. And that kind of what adds to the suspicion in this case. Because if somebody, first of all, millions of children go missing every single year in the United States of America. The good thing is 90% of those children have run away and returned home safely. All right, let's say that again. 90% of them ran away. They returned home safely. They were not trafficked. They were not abused. They were not victimized. They were not preyed upon by bad adults out there. They left home. They went to a friend's house, most likely, a boyfriend, a girlfriend's house. They just wandered the streets. They did whatever they had to do. And then they came home. That's 90% of the millions of children that go missing every single year in the United States of America. A very small percentage of those children were abducted by a total stranger. So even within that 90%, after that 90%, you have a percentage of children who were abducted or manipulated or trafficked by people that they know, or parental alienation, where a parent will not, custodial interference, a parent will not return a child during a custodial visit or something like that. But then you have that very tiny proportion of children that were abducted by a stranger. And it is exceedingly rare for a stranger, a total stranger, to abduct a child. It's possible, obviously, we've seen it happen quite a few times in the news, but it is rare, okay? So in this case, I would believe that if somebody was to abduct Summer Wells, it would be somebody who knew her, or somebody who has been watching her for a very long time. Furthermore, this person would have had to be conducting some type of surveillance on the family on that day to know the specific time that a 5-year-old would be unsupervised by an adult. They would also have to know that the people that they do observe inside of Summer Wells' residence would be minors who at the time would not be paying attention to Summer Wells, therefore giving this person the opportunity to whisk her away in the day to parts unknown, which is basically what's alleged by the family, okay? So now I want to bring in this Dr. Phil interview, guys, and we're going to see if it sheds any light on this situation. I'll be looking for body language. I'll be looking for all the usual things that, we check for on the Strategic Eyes show, kind of figure this out. All right, so let's bring it up and see how 1.5 sounds. The Dr. Phil show does copyright strike, so we're going to go ahead and speed up what he's saying. Everything that I'm going to be using moving forward will be used under the guise of fair use. We will be stopping often in order to make this work transformative so that it falls under the guidelines of fair use. I will put the links for all the videos that I put in. If you want to watch it uninterrupted, you're welcome to click those links in the description box. But while we're talking about it on the show, we will be stopping it for transparency, for transformity in actually doing this the right way and avoiding the YouTube copyright strike machine, okay? Let's keep going. Other things she's kind of saying, it looks like she was telling the truth on what she said initially. And when she's talking about the amount of time it took to fix the grandmother's knee brace, she does contradict herself with her body language, but it could be that she's nervous. But typically when we see someone like, but they're saying no, but they're saying an affirmative. Sometimes there's issues. Some people, they just naturally do that. You really got to have a baseline on a person to be able to tell if that's the case. But right now, she looks very emotional, and it could be that she is nervous. Could be that she's upset. I'm not sure. Could be that she's guilty. Could be that, she's very concerned about her missing child. At this point, I can't say either way. Let's keep going.
What'd you do?
I went back in the house.
When you went back
All
in,
right.
what'd you say?
Got 3 boys in
So we see that again. I went back in the house. She's saying no, but she's saying positive things, right?
on TV.
Okay.
And then they're watching TV. Like, if you knew they were watching TV, like they're watching TV, but she's like watching TV. She's all over the place when it comes to body language on this one.
And no summer?
No song.
Okay. What'd you do then?
I asked the boys where she was at.
All right. So every time she speaks, she's saying no, but she's saying something different. Her statements never match. You see, I looked for everywhere I looked. In the blankets, everywhere.
And she was gone.
She was gone. Like, no, she wasn't really gone, but I'm saying she was gone, but she wasn't really gone.
All right.
So this person will have to know. Remember, if the person comes into the front door, there's a possibility the mother might see it because the mother might see that person because the mother is only 20 feet away in the grandmother's trailer, but maybe not. If she's in the trailer, she won't see anybody going into the main house. But the sons would at least hear and see somebody come through the front door. That person would have to have gone through the basement entrance, which my understanding is a walkout basement because the house is basically on a hill, right? But how would this person know that she would be in the basement at the time, presumably playing with toys, because that's what she asked her mother to do? I'm not saying that the mother or the father or the sons or anybody else had anything to do with this. I have no evidence of it. But what I'm saying is, how would this mystery assailant know to be at the right place in the home at the right time to then whisk Summer Walker away, or Summer Wells, rather? I'm sorry. Well, Summer Walker is a famous singer. Summer Wells away. Let's keep going.
If that door opens, could the boys hear it?
No, if they had the TV up loud.
Okay. All right.
And then, it may be the truth. I don't know. I wasn't there. But when you have an answer for everything, you're leaving nothing up to mystery. That's also a problem for me. Could the boys have heard? No, they had the TV loud. How are you so sure? How are you so sure that even with the TV loud, they wouldn't have been able to hear it? And why do you have to have an excuse for that? I think the most obvious answer would be, I'm not sure. Because how could you say definitively no, they couldn't hear the door open, unless, of course, you were trying to take away that avenue of a theory that maybe somebody came through the door. You wanted to make sure that people could not say that by saying definitively no, they would not have heard the door. Or rather, you want to give them that leeway. My apologies. You want to make that a theory by saying, no, they wouldn't hear it. So it is possible somebody could go in. You want to take away the counter theory that if somebody came in, the boys maybe could have heard it and they probably would have seen something. So it's very interesting. Very interesting. So you notice when she says, not that part, no, she doesn't nod her head. For the whole interview so far, we're 2 minutes and 9 seconds, rather, I apologize. The total interview is 4 minutes and 59 seconds. For the whole interview so far, every time she has answered a question, her body language has done the opposite of her words. But when he asks her a fact, clear fact that she would not need to deceive or even need to think about the truth about, something that is just a baseline, we see that she did not do that with her body language. She absolutely just said, no, you can't see it from grandma's house. So that's our baseline. Our baseline is that when it is an absolute fact, she doesn't do that with her body language. So could it be that she's being deceptive? I'm not sure.
You can about see your camper.
Okay.
All right, so now we see the dad talking. We don't have a baseline for him, but so far, for facts, because this is a fact, the layout of the property and the house and her door, etc., his body language is matching up with what we believe to be facts, right? Because he's saying yes, yes, yes. He's nodding and he's saying yes. So let's keep going and see if, some stranger danger, unless they're watching this girl every day, like they're in the woods with binoculars. And I'm not saying that facetiously. It's possible. It's absolutely possible that some nut job psychopath is like, pedo guy is like, hey, I want to take that little girl, and they're stalking and they're watching and maybe you don't know. It's highly improbable, guys, but it is possible. Okay. And a lot of times with these tragedies, we are dealing with the highly improbable. We are. But this person would have to be watching her and know at this very moment that this is the time, guys. This is the time not only to just do a snatch and grab, which would be much more possible that the person would just drive onto the property from this main road and see her maybe playing outside and just grab her up and drive along the main road back onto the highway and get the hell up out of there as fast as they could. That's definitely possible. But to stalk her, find out the perfect moment that she would be coming out that back door, or the perfect moment where they could go into the house and snatch her, take her away without her screaming or making any noise or biting or scratching or just alerting her family that something's amiss, and then drag her, walk her, carry her into the woods, down this very wooded trail that they'll start talking about, to the main road where they'll have their car waiting, running, warmed up, ready to rock and roll because you have no time to waste, right? To then go to parts unknown with this little girl and then to decide that the next step would be to end her because she hasn't been found yet and she's getting older, or raise her as their own or keep her hostage. When you really think about it, it really does come off, and I could be wrong, but it does come off as a little far-fetched. But that doesn't mean that it's not the truth. Let's keep going. I want to see his face again.
Is this might be the last room to get her?
Possibility. I wasn't even aware the trail was there.
And so here he goes. Now he starts telling this person, telling his on himself, I don't even believe the trail was there. These are Tennessee, Midwest, Southern people. They know their property. They explore their property. Their kids play in woods and stuff like that. You know, how could you not know there's a trail 50 feet from your home? You never walked there before. You never took a peek. Never wanted to see what you might find back there, if there's any treasure or anything like that. I don't know, but he's also saying no while he's saying, you know, that he didn't know. I don't know.
So your belief is this might be the last spot that Summer was on the property?
Yes, sir.
Right there. That she was put in a vehicle there and driven away.
Yep.
Do you have a story or a question?
All right. So, wow. I mean, interesting stuff here. We're going to play a little bit of of the family's interview with WJHL, which happened a couple years back. Once again, I definitely want to see how their mannerisms were, what their body language was at the time when this happened. This is very, very recently after this little beautiful baby girl went missing. And then we'll call it a day and we'll talk about it in the comment section. Believe me, I want to hear your opinions in the comment section, ladies and gentlemen. It's very important. And another thing, one more time, these are just theories. These are my theories. All right. I'm interested in this case. This case has been covered quite a bit for years. Okay. I'm covering this because I want to learn more about this. Okay. There's no gain other than that to cover this, other than to put Summer Wells in the forefront and have her name out there again, because it's a very old case. This is not breaking news. There probably might not be a lot of people who are interested in hearing this story, but I don't want this little girl's story to disappear. I don't want her to stop mattering because we're talking about the newest and greatest cases like the Mika Miller case and, you know, Maddie Soto case, etc. This is just as important, and this one needs attention because we have not found the body of this little baby or found her alive. Okay, so please do understand. I'm just giving my opinion. This child has not been found. This case is unsolved, and everybody in this case is presumed innocent until proven guilty. Let's keep going.
A lot. I know she didn't walk away from this property by herself or off this yard by her swing. I feel in my heart that somebody has came up here and took her, has lured her away from here. Me and my mother and her were planting flowers.
So we see less emotion now in mommy. She looks very dead in her expression. That could be that she is emotionally exhausted. That could very well be that. It could also be that she has a lack of care for the child and, you know, is basically trying to, you know, basically deceive us for the cameras. It could go either way. And I want to definitely impress that upon you, that this is not something you could go either way on. Like, well, this is something you can go either way on, but you should not make a definitive judgment at this point based on how she looks, because especially since the child just recently went missing, she could have emotionally exhausted herself with crying and the feelings of loss and be in this state now. So let's keep going.
And we went in after we got done washing our hands, and She got a piece of candy from grandma, and she wanted to go back over and see her brothers. And I said, okay. And I walked her all the way over to the porch, and I watched her walk into the kitchen where the boys were watching TV. And I told the boys, I said, watch Summer, I'll be back. And within 2 minutes, I came back. And I asked the boys where their sister was, and they said, she went downstairs.
All right, so I just want to add, the mother does have meth mouth. Okay. She, that type of decay for the teeth is not due to cavities and lack of dental insurance, which is a big problem in America. There are a lot of people who have really bad teeth because they can't afford, their jobs don't offer dental insurance, and then they can't afford dental work, which sucks that in America that's the case. But you can tell when the decay is due to drug use. It has a specific type of decay, and it does look like she has that type of decay in her mouth. Let's keep going.
Says mom to play with her toys in the playroom. I said, okay. And I yelled downstairs for her a couple times, and I didn't get no answer, which was unusual because usually she always answers me. And so I went down there to check, and she was nowhere in sight. She was just gone. I don't go on walks around here or runs because I'm scared of the bears and snakes and even the coyotes that are around here. Well, whoever has my daughter, I pray and hope that they have not harmed her and they bring her back to us safe and sound.
Just go to the FBI, the police, and clear it up. I don't know. It seems kind of elusive.
It's really strange that I've never seen this truck, and I've never heard of it until just recently. But I wish they would come forward and explain themselves. And if you're not a suspect, at least come forward and say what you've seen. She was a tomboy. I shaved my head. She wanted to have her head shaved like me and the boys did.
She tried to shave her head
She tried
in
to
the
shave her
back
head
and make
herself.
it, I think you can see it in some of the pictures, and it was getting out of control. So we decided.
This was very interesting. I wish I could slow it down, but I don't want to get copyright strike by this news agency. But like, he really goes into this tirade about her shaving her head and how it's getting out of control and da-da-da-da. And I don't know, but let's keep going.
To shave her head off and let it grow back long, and she shaved her head so she wouldn't feel bad, and but it didn't bother her at this point. Well, I knew right away that she was abducted. I knew that right away, and that's what I told them from the beginning. But they have to go through their, I forget the word.
Investigation.
They have to do one step at a time, I guess. But I'm sorry that they had to spend so many man hours in these woods and everything. I've seen them limping and everything else, and I feel for them. But I just wish there was a way that neighbors could search neighbors' houses, and then if they're not willing, get a search warrant or something. But there's just no way you can search every single house, in the eastern United States or whatever. But I wish there was a way. Just thankful for the person or persons that's doing that, out of love.
You guys notice that her shirt is like inside out. Her shirt is actually inside out. So it could be a sign of distress, etc. Of dealing with the fact that the daughter is gone. Interesting stuff here. Very rural, poor people, which is, a lot of America is like this, forgotten part of America. The part of America that the big city people, such as myself, grow up in the eastern part and the western part of America. We don't really think about this part of America. We talk about poverty in the inner cities and people who are hungry and have high rents, and we don't think about the people in middle America who are just as poor, if not more poor, right? The poor in New York are still managing, sometimes with assistance, but they're still managing to pay, $2,000-$3,000 in rent. The poor, like, they're abstract poor, people on welfare, even when they pay their cut, their cash out of their pocket for the rent, they're paying $1,500, $2,000 for rent. Maybe the government's paying the rest of it. These poor folks, their houses cost $200-$300 and they live in shacks in the woods, and they can still barely afford to pay for dinner, and put shoes on their feet. I'm not specifically talking about this family, but just America in general. I don't want to turn this into politics, but I just wish there was a better way to ensure that every American, regardless of your race, gender, or creed, had the opportunity to explore the American dream. All right. But anyway, that's a different conversation. I'm going to stop it here. The reason I'm going to stop it here is definitely have some other things we need to do, on the back end. But we're going to revisit this and finish this interview on another day. Maybe I'll do it for the members. But what is my verdict? I think it's impossible to have a verdict in this case because so many different things could possibly be a possibility. It's been a couple of years now, 3 years, I believe. And if the police thought that the parents were the ones that actually hurt this child, they probably would have been arrested by now. But at this time, I don't think the police has any clue of what happened to the child. There are moments when people can commit crimes and there's just not enough evidence to convict them. I would say that the possibility of the parents or some family member doing something to Summer Wells is extremely high, but it is not improbable or impossible that a stranger abducted her and has taken her away to parts unknown and done unknown things to her. It's most likely that she's not with us anymore. It's most likely, ladies and gentlemen, that this little baby girl is no longer with us. And if she is, it would be an absolute miracle. And we hope for that miracle to be true. But I don't know, guys. This one's a tough one. Hope you guys are paying attention to it. If anybody has any information on Summer Wells, please hit me up inside of the comment section. Excuse me, not even the comment section. Hit me up in the email, strategiceyes with a Z at the end @gmail.com. Common spelling, excuse me. Just woke up. It was a long night last night. I apologize. Common spelling, strategic eyes, but except instead of an EYES, it's EYEZ @gmail.com. I have no idea why I did that. When I set up that email, I should have just made it regular strategic eyes with a common English language spelling, but I did not. I put it with a Z at the end @gmail.com. Send me whatever information you have on Summer Wells, and I'll definitely look at it and hopefully go over it. And also, we're going to be talking about the pastor's wife. I think her name is Mika Miller. Please hit me up with information you have on Mika Miller. I want to go over the full sermon that the pastor did before he told his congregation that his wife had died from self-unaliving. I'm having problems finding that video. If somebody has access to that video, please send it over to me. I want to do a reaction to it. I want to also do a reaction to her 911 call that is available on the internet, so I'll be able to do that. We're going to dive into that case. It's a very interesting case, and that pastor is a very interesting fellow, and it just falls into the vein of people who proclaim themselves to be people of God, but they're actually using their position to do very evil things. But we'll get into that on another day. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Strategic is out of here. Peace.